Hello, English learners. Welcome to another inspiring biographical story that will help you improve your English while learning about one of history's most iconic revolutionaries. Today, we're exploring the extraordinary life of Ernesto Che Guevara, a man who gave up a comfortable life to fight for the oppressed and became a global symbol of rebellion and idealism. Ernesto Guevara de la Serna was born on June 14, 1928, in Rosario, Argentina, into a middle-class family. His parents were well-educated and politically aware, often discussing social issues around the dinner table. From an early age, Ernesto was exposed to ideas about social justice and inequality, which would later shape his revolutionary worldview. As a child, Ernesto suffered from severe asthma, a condition that would affect him throughout his life. Despite his breathing problems, he was determined not to let his illness limit him. He became an excellent athlete, playing rugby and swimming, proving to himself and others that physical challenges could be overcome through willpower and determination. Ernesto was an exceptional student who loved to read. He devoured books about philosophy, politics, and literature, developing a broad intellectual foundation that would serve him well in his future revolutionary activities. His family's extensive library introduced him to the works of Marx, Engels, and other socialist thinkers who criticized capitalism and advocated for workers' rights. In 1947, Ernesto began studying medicine at the University of Buenos Aires. He chose this field because he wanted to help people, particularly the poor who couldn't afford proper health care. During his medical studies, he witnessed firsthand how poverty affected people's health and realized that many diseases were not just medical problems, but social problems caused by inequality and injustice. While studying medicine, Ernesto took 2 life-changing motorcycle journeys across South America. The first trip in 1950 took him through northern Argentina, and the second, in 1951-1952, covered much of the continent with his friend Alberto Granado. These journeys opened his eyes to the widespread poverty, exploitation, and suffering that existed throughout Latin America. During his travels, Ernesto saw indigenous communities living in terrible conditions, workers being exploited in mines and plantations, and wealthy elites living in luxury while millions struggled in poverty. He began to understand that these problems were not accidents, but the result of economic and political systems that benefited the few at the expense of the many. One particularly important experience occurred when Ernesto visited a leper colony in Peru. He was moved by the kindness and dignity of the patients, despite their suffering and social rejection. This experience reinforced his belief that all human beings deserved respect and care, regardless of their social status or condition. After completing his medical degree in 1953, Ernesto traveled to Guatemala, where he witnessed the reformist government of Jacobo Arbenz attempting to redistribute land to poor farmers. However, he also saw how the United States Central Intelligence Agency supported a military coup that overthrew Arbenz because his reforms threatened American business interests. The Guatemalan experience was crucial in shaping Ernesto's political views. He realized that peaceful reform was often impossible when powerful interests opposed change, and that revolutionary action might be necessary to achieve social justice. He also began to understand how foreign powers, particularly the United States, intervened in Latin American countries to protect their economic interests. From Guatemala, Ernesto traveled to Mexico City, where he met Fidel Castro and other Cuban exiles who were planning to overthrow the Cuban dictator Fulgencio Batista. Castro's charisma and revolutionary vision impressed Ernesto, who decided to join the Cuban revolutionary movement. It was around this time that people began calling him Che, an Argentine expression meaning hey or buddy. In December 1956, Che joined Fidel Castro and 80 other revolutionaries on a dangerous boat journey from Mexico to Cuba. Their plan was to start a guerrilla war in the Cuban mountains and eventually overthrow Batista's government. The expedition almost ended in disaster when most of the revolutionaries were killed or captured shortly after landing. She was one of the few survivors who managed to escape to the Sierra Maestra Mountains. Despite having no military experience, he quickly proved himself as a capable guerrilla fighter and leader. His medical knowledge made him valuable for treating wounded fighters, but he was equally skilled at planning military operations and inspiring other revolutionaries. During the guerrilla war, Che developed his theory of revolutionary warfare, which emphasized the importance of winning the support of peasants and workers. He believed that guerrilla fighters should not just be military forces, but also educators who helped local communities understand why revolution was necessary. He often spent time teaching literacy to rural peasants and explaining political ideas. Che's leadership abilities and unwavering commitment to the revolutionary cause earned him promotion to commander. He led successful attacks against Batista's forces and helped establish liberated zones where revolutionaries could organize and build support among the population. His reputation as a fearless and principled leader spread throughout Cuba. On January 1, 1959, after 2 years of guerrilla warfare, Batista fled Cuba and the revolutionaries took power. Che played a crucial role in the final offensive that captured several important cities, including Santa Clara, where his tactical brilliance helped secure victory for the revolutionary forces. After the revolution's success, Che took on various important positions in the new Cuban government. He served as president of La Cabaña Fortress Prison, where he oversaw the trials and executions of war criminals from Batista's regime. Though controversial, Che believed that justice required punishing those who had tortured and killed Cuban people. Che also became Cuba's Minister of Industries, responsible for diversifying the economy and reducing dependence on sugar exports. He worked tirelessly to transform Cuba from a plantation economy that served foreign interests into a modern, industrialized nation that could provide for its own people's needs. As a government minister, Che practiced what he preached about revolutionary values. He refused special privileges and worked alongside regular laborers in factories and sugar plantations. He donated his salary to social programs and lived modestly, demonstrating that revolutionary leaders should serve the people rather than enriching themselves. However, Che became increasingly frustrated with the bureaucratic aspects of government work. He believed that revolution was not just about changing governments, but about creating a new man with different values based on solidarity and selflessness rather than individual greed and competition. In 1965, Che made the dramatic decision to leave Cuba and dedicate himself to spreading revolution throughout the developing world. He believed that the Cuban Revolution was just the beginning of a global struggle against imperialism and capitalism, and that revolutionaries had a duty to help oppressed people everywhere. Che's first international mission took him to the Congo in Africa, where he attempted to support local revolutionaries fighting against a government backed by Western powers. However, the Congo mission was unsuccessful due to various factors, including poor organization, tribal conflicts, and lack of popular support. Disappointed but not defeated, Che returned secretly to Cuba to plan his next revolutionary mission. In 1966, he traveled to Bolivia, where he hoped to start a guerrilla war that would spread throughout South America and create multiple Vietnams that would weaken American imperialism in the region. The Bolivian mission proved to be Che's final and most tragic adventure. His small guerrilla force struggled to gain support from local peasants who were suspicious of foreign revolutionaries. The Bolivian Communist Party refused to support his mission, and the Bolivian army, trained and equipped by the United States, proved to be a formidable enemy. On October 8, 1967, Che was captured by Bolivian soldiers in a remote area near the village of La Higuera. Despite being wounded, he maintained his dignity and revolutionary convictions even in captivity. The next day, on orders from the Bolivian government and with approval from the CIA, Che Guevara was executed. He was only 39 years old. Che's death was intended to end his influence, but instead it transformed him into a martyr and global icon. His image, especially the famous photograph taken by Alberto Corda, became one of the most recognized symbols of rebellion and idealism in the world. Young people across continents adopted Che as a symbol of their struggles against injustice and oppression. Today, Che Guevara remains a controversial but inspiring figure. Critics point to his role in executions and his support for violent revolution, while supporters admire his selfless dedication to fighting for the oppressed and his refusal to compromise his principles for personal gain. Che Guevara's life teaches us about the power of conviction and the willingness to sacrifice personal comfort for larger ideals. Whether one agrees with his methods or not, his commitment to fighting for the oppressed and his refusal to enjoy privileges while others suffer demonstrate a rare kind of moral consistency. His famous words, "The true revolutionary is guided by great feelings of love," remind us that even in struggle and conflict, the ultimate motivation should be love for humanity and desire to create a better world for everyone. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the complex and inspiring life of Che Guevara. We hope you enjoyed improving your English while learning about this iconic revolutionary whose image and ideals continue to inspire people around the world. Remember that understanding historical figures helps us think about important questions of justice, sacrifice, and social change. Keep practicing your English, and we'll see you in our next educational story. If you found this lesson thought-provoking, please like and subscribe for more biographical content about figures who shaped our world.